falling, and so is its birth rate, and it's all happening much faster than many experts had predicted. After decades when a one-child policy was ruthlessly enforced as a measure of population control, the Communist Party is now desperate for Chinese citizens to have more children. But is that what people want? Can they afford it? The economic effects of a rapid population decline will be profound, both for China and the rest of the world, which has grown accustomed to China's global industrial power. A smaller labour force and an ageing population will put unprecedented demands on healthcare and welfare systems and on society in general. China's not the only country in the world facing huge demographic challenges, but nowhere else are they more acute or consequential. That's the real story from the BBC, coming up after the news.
This is Danielle Jałowiecka with the BBC News. Hello. The US, India, Japan and Australia have said they're extremely concerned by the militarisation of disputed areas in the East and South China Seas at a time of growing Chinese assertiveness in the region. Foreign ministers of the group known as the Quad met on the sidelines of the G20 in New Delhi. Barbara Plett-Usher is there.
As usual, the Quad doesn't actually mention China by name, but it mentions all sorts of things that concern the members about China's behaviour. So the statement talks about the need to have freedom of navigation and overflight, transparent lending, that it opposes any unilateral attempt to change the status quo or to raise tensions in the South and East China Seas. That kind of language in the statement, clearly directed at China, but without mentioning Beijing by name.
There's been widespread condemnation to the sentencing in Cambodia of the opposition leader Kum Sokha to 27 years for treason. Kum Sokha had been accused of working with the US to unseat Hun Sen, Cambodia's long-serving prime minister. Sopheep Chak of the Cambodian Centre for Human Rights said it was another example of Hun Sen eliminating opposition to his rule.
Today's verdict is very disappointed, but no surprise because, it is a kind of trend in the few years when it comes to the case against opposition, against human rights defender. It is illustrate, how much that the court have been under political influence as well as lack of independence.
The Belarusian Nobel Peace Prize winner Ales Bialyatsky has been sentenced to 10 years in jail. The 60-year-old was on trial along with two other members of the human rights group Vyasna. He'd been charged with financing a protest group, and his sentence was close to the maximum allowed for the offence. Belarus has held several trials recently for what critics insist are political prisoners. The head of Russia's Wagner Group has claimed that its troops now surround most of Bakhmut. The East Ukrainian city has been the focus of extensive recent fighting, with Yevgeny Prigozhin's mercenary force taking a lead role. Here's our Europe regional editor, Paul Moss.
Buildings are on fire, bodies lie unburied in the street, and Bakhmut is now subject to constant gunfire and explosions. Those who remain describe a population suffering severe deprivation, while Ukrainian forces try to hold out against the Russian mercenaries apparently now surrounding them. The claims by Wagner's Yevgeny Prigozhin can't be taken at face value, but Ukraine has acknowledged that its troops in Bakhmut are under severe pressure and may have to withdraw. Casualties on both sides have been severe. All this for a city which many believe in the end is of little strategic value.
World News from the BBC. Palestinian officials say Israeli forces have shot dead a 15-year-old boy in the West Bank. They say two other teenagers were wounded, one critically. The Israeli army says the boys were throwing fireworks at Israeli cars and threw petrol bombs at troops during a search. The Swedish telecoms company Ericsson has said it will pay a $207 million fine for not disclosing to the US authorities an internal investigation relating to suspected bribes paid to the Islamic State group in Iraq. Ericsson said the fine related to a failure to disclose documents to the Department of Justice in a timely manner. The Colombian President Gustavo Petro has called for protesters in the Amazon to release dozens of police and oil workers. It follows a deadly clash between local residents and the security forces, as Warren Bull reports.
Community leaders in the province of Caquetá seized 79 police officers and 9 oilfield workers on Thursday after a policeman and a civilian were killed in clashes. Residents have blockaded the compound of an oil exploration company, Emerald Energy, which they want to build a new road in the area. President Petro demanded the release of the hostages to prevent a new escalation of violence. Colombian police say dissident members of the FARC rebel group who rejected the 2016 peace deal are present in the area and could be provoking the unrest.
A new study says the increase in wildfires in the snow forests of North America and Eurasia poses a major threat to attempts to halt climate change. The research says fires in the boreal forests around the Arctic Circle have increased in frequency over the past 2 decades, linked to rising temperatures. The region suffered record levels of carbon emissions in 2021, double the amount generated by the aviation industry. Scientists warn that repeated blazes could threaten the forest's ability to absorb carbon. BBC News.
This is The Real Story from the BBC. I'm Chris Morris with your weekly deep dive into a story that's making news and changing lives. This week, unprecedented population decline in China.
The authorities in China have announced that couples will be allowed to have up to 3 children, raising the limit from 2. It follows census figures showing a steep decline in the birth rate.
It's a falling birth rate in a populous nation that for decades ruthlessly enforced a one-child policy.
It's a story of pain and loss that could be told at hundreds of millions of dinner tables. I did fall pregnant for a second time, Jiang Xinping tells me, but I had an abortion.
Did you have a choice?
I couldn't keep it, she replies. You either go willingly or the government comes for you.
But now the government is doing everything it can to encourage couples to have more children.
China can do a lot of things, more investments in kindergartens, in child caring facilities, and honor system, for example, to honor and incentive more families to have more kids, and then also to make sure that the social benefits that the young couples will enjoy will not be one-strike benefits. It will be long-standing. It will be sustainable for the period of child caring.
But can
Empowerment is always key to development. Doing good outreach under the auspices of His Royal Highness Osei Ejatakpo VII presents Avatime Youth Empowerment Outreach 2023 with the theme Run to Jesus, Your Only Savior, Acts 10 verse 38. Date is Saturday the 26th of March to Saturday, April 1st, 2023. Below are the dates and venues. 27th March, Avatime Vanle Community Center. 28th March, Avatime Amejokwe Market Square. 29th is Avatime Jokwepeme Primary School Compound. 30th March, Avatime Biakpa Community Center. 31st March, Avatime Bajame Community Center. Then April 1st is Avatime Fume and Jokwe Community Center. The time is 6:30 p.m. every day. Speakers: Reverend Michael K.M. Isiama.
We have redemption. We have been redeemed from the iniquities of the life. So you don't need to beg anymore. Oh, indeed, the Son of the living God.
Reverend Samuel Avagame and Reverend Prince Mauli Ejay kindly consider with a generous heart donating to this noble cause financially, materially, or with your time and presence. Note, there will be free health screening during the day for all. Contact us on WhatsApp 0044 7851 205 626 or on mobile 054 959 1452 054 959 1452 or email us at admin@powerwordint.co.uk.
Oh no. 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 Oh no.
Oh dear, I do fear we may have lost Mark Crossley as well. I was so looking forward to that. We've been talking to the company for ages about getting them on. We'll try and get back to that one if we possibly can, because it is a very important subject. On to some other business news for you now, though, and the world's biggest education publisher and provider of e-learning said it was confident this morning of generating further sales growth this year, helped by the ongoing popularity of English language learning courses. Well, Pearson, which also owns the examining board EdXL, was reporting a full-year pre-tax profit of £244 million. That's up from £178 million in 2021. Pearson said its English language learning sales during the year were up 24% on an underlying basis, driven by strong demand in India, Latin America and the Middle East. The online property portal Rightmove insisted this morning that while it remained alert to the ongoing economic uncertainty, it was not materially impacted by the property market cycle, other than in the most extreme circumstances. Peter Brooks-Johnson, the outgoing chief executive, said its new and existing products and services were effective and integral in helping its customers in both faster and slower markets. Well, Rightmove was reporting a full-year pre-tax profit of £241.3 million for 2022. That was up 7% on 2021. And the UK Engineering Combine, IMI, predicted this morning that its sales and profit margins would be higher this year than in 2022. The Birmingham-based company, once part of the UK chemicals giant ICI, and which serves clients in the life sciences, transport and energy sectors, was reporting a 13% rise in full-year pre-tax profits to £346 million. It said all of its three divisions, precision engineering, critical engineering and hydronic engineering, had boosted sales and margins during the year. Well, the company, which was founded 161 years ago as a maker of percussion caps for guns before diversifying into ammunition, said its order book now stood at a record £458 million. Now, this week saw the launch of the third Google for Startups Black Founders Fund, a scheme aimed at tackling the lack of black talent in tech startups. Applicants can apply for up to $150,000 each in funding, as well as $200,000 in cloud credits and support. So joining me now is Mariama Bumanjol, who is Startup Partner Manager at Google, and Josephine Phillips, who's founder and chief executive of Sojo, a sustainable fashion tech startup. Welcome to you both. Mariama, let me start with you. How many applications did you get for the last two funds?
We've seen over 800 applications coming from all countries in Europe, of which we have chosen in the last 2 years 70 recipients. And like the impact of these founders selected speaks for itself. We started the fund 3 years ago in the US and then quickly expanded to Brazil, Europe and Africa. And over the last 3 years, we invested a total of 34 million into over 400 companies, of which collectively they went on and raised an additional 400 million, which just shows that this fund is giving them the opportunity and the ability to go ahead and raise 10x on follow-up funding.
Now, remind me of the rules here about applying. The business has to have a product in the market. It just can't be a sort of nice idea on a piece of paper.
Correct, yes. Ideally, we're looking for founders who already have their product in the market. Scalable solution. We are a tech company, and this is where we believe we can best support tech companies to further scale their businesses. We're looking for some form of traction, either in users or already some form of angel or VC investment. And we're looking for founders headquartered in Europe.
Well, Josephine, let me bring you in. I mean, you've benefited from this scheme already. How much of a difference did it make to your business?
I mean, it made a huge difference to our business, mainly because as an early stage startup, you make a million different mistakes and you have no idea what's to come. And I think being part of the Google for Startups community and part of the fund was invaluable in that they have the expertise, the knowledge. They've seen hundreds of companies come, go, scale, succeed. And I think us being able to access that knowledge and expertise was incredible. And it sort of took us to another level.
How difficult had you found it to raise capital before you got involved in this scheme?
Yeah, I mean, the investment landscape's challenging at the best of times for any early stage startup. I think particularly for female founders and Black founders, it gets even harder. There is a massive lack of representation from the investors and for venture capital for Black and female founders. At the same time, there is support out there. And I think Google, as well as other female founded funds, Black investors are really there to support you. And that's something that ended up being a very positive experience for me.
And obviously there was an element of mentoring and support involved for you as well. What were the biggest sort of takeaways for you from all this?
I think one of the biggest takeaways was, yes, the expertise and the kind of mentoring that came alongside it, but also it cannot be underestimated how important the community was. Starting a startup, running it, being a founder is incredibly lonely and really difficult. And being able to come alongside all these other founders and Black founders who deeply understand your experience was completely invaluable. And Google really fostered that community and ensured not only did we get the work done and the professional growth, but also that social and community growth as well.
And you've kept in touch with a lot of your fellow founders, have you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, literally the group chat is going every day.
That's great. I mean, Mariama, you've run this scheme, as you said, elsewhere around the world. How did the UK take-up compare with other geographies?
Well, in Europe, out of the 70 companies that we invested in, 2/3 actually are UK-based companies. And from the 70 companies they did in Europe alone, had a follow-up investment of like 105 million and increased their headcount by like 36%. And I think what we're seeing in the UK is giving the drop of investment in the last year by like 22%, what we generally see is diverse founders are disproportionately hit again. And this is why I think it is more important than ever to once again launch this fund to make sure that Black founders are not robbed of these opportunities. Because when we rob the Black founders of the opportunities to create their businesses, we actually rob society of their ideas, their businesses, the jobs they created, and most importantly, the change they're driving.
Josephine, give me an idea of the kind of turnover you're doing right now.
Ian, that's a bit intense question. I would say, though, that it is very intense. That's one for the investors that I'm pitching to. But in general, I would say that, so off the back of the kind of Google funding that we had last year, we did a pre-seed investment and we raised kind of 2.4 million, which has massively seen us grow our team from 2 people to 14 people, both in product, marketing, data, the lot. And we've now also in-housed our operations and we have our first tailoring studio. So lots of growth is happening, but you're not going to get that turnover number.
Fantastic. Well, you're going to have to come back and tell us at a future date then. Good to see you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm pleased to say we can now return to Mark Crossley, the Chief Executive of Indivior. Mark, good to see you. Sorry we lost you before. Opiant's main, one of their prize assets is a new nasal delivery system that hasn't yet got approval, as I understand it.
No, that's correct, Ian. Their lead asset, Opiant 003, is under FDA review. It's an accelerated review with a PDUFA date in May. And I'm really excited about the potential of this asset to help patients. The opioid epidemic in the United States has really transformed. The landscape has been overtaken by high-powered synthetic opioids, which are 50 to 100 times more powerful than heroin or pain pills, and quite deadly when you overdose on those. And so this asset has a new product profile that's differentiated versus other assets that are currently marketed. And if approved, what we see is an asset that has a quicker onset of action, 5 minutes to 20. It has a higher affinity to the mu receptor, where opioids act and shut down the respiratory system. And it has a longer half-life that is 11 hours versus the 8 hours of the fentanyl. And the current standard of care is around 2. So we see this as an asset that's very pertinent to where this disease space has evolved, and this public health sort of crisis that claims from opioid overdose, 76,000 of the 107,000 deaths a year that you mentioned are from opioid overdose. So a really compelling asset.
Now, it's often claimed that treatments for opioid addiction simply replace one drug with another. What's your riposte to that?
Yeah, no, listen, I think folks are correct that they are opioids that we're treating with buprenorphine, but it's a different profile asset. These are very safe drugs. They have a different pharmacokinetic profile. They have a ceiling on the euphoria effect, so they stabilize you physically, but you don't get high. And they're also incredibly safe. They have a respiratory floor. So when you're on buprenorphine, you feel clear and you're able to regain your life when you're on that. And it's a WHO essential medication, and we see it as an essential tool in helping patients, who are suffering from opioid addiction.
Now, separately, you and Opiant have both been working on treatments for cannabis addiction. What sort of progress are you making on that?
Yeah, we're merging very much like we are with the opioid use disorder, where Indivior has been working on treatments to help folks that are addicted, and Opiant has been developing drugs for rescue. We're doing the same thing, and merging of these two companies is really synergistic. We have a phase 2B asset for cannabis use disorder that we've been developing and expect a readout on in 2024. Whereas Opiant has been working on a cannabis intoxication drug to rescue folks who enter psychosis and other side effects of these high THC products that have become, medicalized and legalized in the US. And so it's that high THC that creates more addiction, and it creates these cannabis-related disorders as people overdose and enter psychosis. And we see more A&E visits, in the US where that drug has been legalized. So we're excited about having this renewed portfolio across the continuum of care to help patients.
Now, it's been widely reported this week that NHS England is looking at sending people to art classes and music classes and gardening classes instead of prescribing painkillers. What do you make of that?
And listen, everything that's available in the toolkit to help these patients enter and stay in recovery, we're for. And those ranges, are from medicalized treatment to psychosocial counseling. That psychosocial counseling can be one-on-one, it can be group therapy, it can be things like art classes. And these things help stabilize patients, help them deal with the triggers that cause them to reach for their drug of abuse. And so we're all for anything that helps the patients enter and stay in recovery and regain their life.
All right, Mark, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. I'm glad we were able to re-establish connections with you. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Great to catch up, Ian. Thank you.
Still to come here on Ian King Live, we're going to have a look at how global markets are going into the weekend. Stay tuned.
Empowerment is always key to development. Doing good outreach under the auspices of His Royal Highness Osi Ejatakbo VII presents Avatime Youth Empowerment Outreach 2023 with the theme Run to Jesus, Your Only Savior, Acts 10 verse 38. Date is Saturday the 26th of March to Saturday April 1st, 2023. Below are the dates and venues. 27th March, Avatime Vanle Community Center. 28th March, Avatime Amejokwe Market Square. 29th is Avatime Jokwepeme Primary School Compound. 30th March, Avatime Biakpa Community Center. 31st March, Avatime Bajame Community Center. Then April 1st is Avatime Fume and Jokwe Community Center. The time is 6:30 p.m. every day. Speakers: Reverend Michael K.M. Isiama.
We have redemption. We have been redeemed from the iniquities of the planet. So you don't need to beg anymore. Oh, indeed, the Son of the living God.
Reverend Samuel Avagame and Reverend Prince Mauli Ajay kindly consider with a generous heart donating to this noble cause financially, materially, or with your time and presence. Note, there'll be free health screening during the day for all. Contact us on WhatsApp 0044 7851 205 626 or on mobile 054 959 1452 054 959 1452 or email us at admin@powerwordint.co.uk.
Note, here's the Current picture, all of the main continental European indices in positive territory right now. Talking points in Europe this morning include Lufthansa. The carrier is up some 4.5% in Frankfurt after it predicted a major improvement in earnings this year. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in positive territory. It's up 0.25% right now. The mining heavyweights are lending support. Leading gainers include M&G for a second day running. That follows Wednesday night's report from Sky's Mark Kleinman of a possible bid from Macquarie. M&G up 2.5% right now. The engineers Melrose and Weir are also continuing to attract buyers following results earlier. Well, look at that. Melrose it's just dipped into negative territory. Weir Group is up more than 1% right now. On the downside, the insurer Admiral is off some 2.5%, well now 3%. That's on the back of some negative broker comment this morning. Outside the FTSE, Wizz Air is up by 3% following yesterday's latest passenger numbers, while National Express continues to be wanted after its results yesterday. The shares rose by about 10% yesterday. On the foreign exchange markets, well, the pound sold off yesterday against a strong dollar. This morning, there's been something of a revival. I think we can show you how sterling's doing right now. No, I don't think we can. Sterling, I can tell you, it's about 0.2%. There it is. Sterling's 0.2% higher right now against the greenback. Sterling also 0.25% higher against the euro. As for the oil price, it's trading in a very narrow range today. Still on course to post a gain for the week. A barrel of Brent crude will currently set you back $84.26 a barrel. That is down 0.5%. With me now is Bill Dinning. He is, of course, Chief Investment Officer at Waverton Investment Management. Bill, good to see you this morning. I'd love to get your two penneth on the arm holding story.
Well, it's a worrying trend, isn't it, in the short term, that a business that used to be an important part of the FTSE comes back to the market and goes to New York. You can understand that. I think you talked about it in the earlier section. You know, the US is where the tech companies have got very solid valuations. Investors understand it, and I think the UK is suffering from that. Having said that, it's the sort of thing that, you know, you might say, well, actually, that's sort of the sort of thing that people do sort of at the top of a market. It may well be that actually being in the UK, broadening the investor base, the company was very successful, listed on the London. You know, it may be that, I think your earlier guest was talking about maybe a secondary listing. So let's see.
Now, what about some of the macro situation right now? I mean, obviously, the big story this week is about the Fed continuing to tighten by more than expecting.
Yeah, and the market's really repriced that quite significantly in the last month. I mean, a month ago, you were looking at the market expecting the Federal Reserve to only maybe do one, max two more rate increases, and then to be cutting interest rates potentially quite aggressively by the end of the year. And I think that's changed materially. You know, that we've got a higher expectation, rates close to 5.5%, so that's up 1% from where we are now at the peak and staying there for a bit longer. And I think that's probably more reasonable, frankly. I mean, the Federal Reserve officials have said in the minutes, they've said in their public speeches, the majority of them, that they want to continue to keep rates high. And the data, you know, the strength in the US economy, there's obviously signs of weakness. Some of the retail companies have been talking about that, of consumers not buying as many, not buying things that aren't essentials, if you like. They're buying more staples and less discretionary. But we need more evidence of that, I think, before the Fed will stop. So yes, I think higher short-term interest rates is a reasonable place for the market to have gotten to.
We're looking down into some of the weeds. You're quite keen on property companies yesterday.
Well, what I'm certainly interested in the UK is the market thinks that the Bank of England is going to keep going with interest rate hikes here and not cut. And actually, I think if I was going to bet against the market on either side of the Atlantic, I would bet against that. I think the Bank of England is not going to have to raise interest rates very much more, and I suspect there'll be lots of pressure to be cutting them towards the end of the year because we've got more visible signs of weakness here. We've got a different fiscal backdrop here. We'll see what the budget does, but the government is not being kind in terms of fiscal spending. And you've seen you've had significant, obviously, problems in the residential market with the mortgage rate where it is, and commercial market. The repricing of commercial property in the UK has been very significant in the last 6 6 months of last year. Now, in aggregate, I think commercial property's still got a lot of challenges. You know, there's some real challenges for retail, real challenges for office, but certainly parts of the property market, particularly some that are exposed, you can get exposure to through some of the listed REITs, some of the investment companies, some of the niche areas, whether it's in healthcare or supermarkets, you know, they've been really repriced significantly, 25-30% in many cases. And I think that repricing maybe has gone far enough. So I think UK PLC might look a little bit more interesting later in the year.
Yeah, and of course, lest we forget, I mean, if you don't think the bank is really going to get to grips with inflation, I mean, a hedge against inflation traditionally is commercial property.
Yeah, yes, it certainly can be part of it, although I think you have to be a little careful. A lot of the inflation-linked rents, you know, are capped. A lot of the time they don't go up more than 4%, and RPI is rather higher than that. But yes, I mean, I think my view is predicated on the idea that inflationary pressures will continue to abate, which I think is again predicated more on what's happening in the US. You know, to some extent, the Bank of England's sort of a bit like Don Quixote, really. They're sort of tilting at the inflation windmill, but we're more receivers of global inflation, and domestic demand in the UK isn't necessarily going to change that. The US consumer and the US domestic economy is so large that actually if the Fed slows demand in the US, that will be a positive.
On point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes.
How do you get the energy to do
I've been
that?
told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
one of the things that's the start of digging the hole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
The best radio show.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the King Makeup about for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We call them London for home. For here, we call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
The coolest way to start your weekend. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Love for you runs deep. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your...
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you, and once again, welcome to the Friday edition of the morning show.
And forevermore. And that's what makes...
And I'm saying good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi, Mr. Tabiri, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. Gentlemen, good morning. But I'm saying good morning also to Anthony Adideji, Pastor Emmanuel Chidi, my brother Kojo D, Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. Good morning to you all. And once again, welcome. Olakunle, good morning. Aziz Badasari, good morning. Sir Maxwell Moyua, good morning to you all. Gentlemen, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Love for you. And as we say on Star Radio UK, it is the coolest way to do what?
The coolest way to start your weekend. You make a dog.
And of course, I remain yours sincerely.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Okay, all protocol observed. Let's crack on. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to watch us or listen to us on a Friday morning, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as global trotting. Then after that, we'll continue to look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, namely now, updates from Nigeria at 11 o'clock. We'll be looking at the aftermath of the elections and the olive branch that has been presented by Tinubu has the other presidential candidates accepted it, and maybe that will cause the country to move forward and we see a bit of peace and security implemented and people have improvement on their lives. What do you think? Well, that will be at exactly 11 o'clock when we have Mr. Olayomi joining in. Then after that, we'll continue to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds. At 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add a voice to the discussions. We continue from there, and exactly at 12:30 to bring the first part of the program to a close. We'll take you to Kent, where our money man, Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, is, and he will see to address all your money issues on the Money Hour. Then after that, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in a gist, that's what is going to be happening today. So once again, I say welcome to the program. Don't touch the dial. Let's share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. Love for you. But I'm saying good morning and a happy birthday to Anna Mani. All of you men. May God continue to bless you and expand your territory. And to all our listeners, whoever is celebrating, and viewers, whoever is celebrating their birthdays today, I say a happy birthday to you. Or if you are celebrating anything special over the weekend. Hey, my brother Kojo, tomorrow is your birthday. Tomorrow will not be on air, so let me wish you on air. Kojo D, happy birthday. Great birthday wishes. Okay, let's crack on. Now the quote for the day says, great organizations emerge from right and great people, not just business opportunities and a ready market. Now let's move on straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening on the weather front. Now when it comes to the weather front, this is what the weather is going to be for you today. This morning will be mostly cloudy with a few spots of drizzle possible in places through the afternoon. Now the cloud will gradually break up and clear to leave some late spells of sunshine. Now tonight will start with variable cloud and clear spells. Now thicker cloud will move it in from the east through the early hours. It will remain dry throughout the night. Now, when it comes to the temperature is going to be 8 degrees. The lower is going to be 3 degrees. UV level low, pollution low as well. Sunset 17:44. Sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:42 hours. But when it comes to the Saturday weather, this is how it's going to be on Saturday. We'll be seeing a largely cloudy day with just the odd bright spells breaking through the cloud. At times, it will remain dry throughout the day though. Temperature is going to be 8 degrees and the lower is going to be 3 degrees as well. Then finally on Sunday as well, it's going to be colder than it's been. Sunday will have mostly cloudy skies and a few scattered light showers in places, but occasional bright spells may develop too, turning chillier as a northerly airflow develops. The top temperature is going to be 7 degrees, the lower is going to be minus, my apologies, 0. Alright then, so that is Starr Radio UK, the weather forecast for you. But next week we'll be seeing some cold weather coming through. Flurries of snows coming through as well on Tuesday. So let's get ourselves ready for it. Spring has not sprung yet. Okay, let's take a quick break and I'll bring you the travel update. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it's your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in and across the globe.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, I will keep you navigated. I promise I'll burn the Starr Radio UK travel app that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:47, and what's happening on your travels this morning? Well. For those of you on the underground, the Jubilee line has still got delays due to shortage of trains. That aside, all the other underground lines have got good service. London Overground, DLR, and London Tramlink, good service there. For the major roads in London, this one is happening right now. A23, A24, A4, London, Central London Red routes have all got closures. Now, A1 and A40 has got serious delays. Not circular A406 serious delays as well. So please, if you can avoid it, do your best to avoid that. If you're stuck in there, then please continue to listen to us, because as and when there are any changes, we promise you one thing for sure: we're going to bring it to the fore. But moving on straight to the river bus this morning. On the river bus, those of you who want to use that, yes, there's planned closures on the Woolwich Ferry. That aside, all the others have got good service there. Now, the London cable car is also working good there as well. But on the final segment of the travel updates, that is the National Rail. What we have in stock for you on the National Rail this morning: ScotRail and Transport for Wales. Minor delays and special service respectfully. Okay then. Okay, so this I bring the update to a close for today. I'm mumbling like no man's business. I need a bit of caffeine, don't I? Yeah. Alright then, so let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Empowerment is always key to development. Doing good outreach under the auspices of His Royal Highness Osi Ejatakbo VII presents Avatime Youth Empowerment Outreach 2023 with the theme Run to Jesus, Your Only Savior, Acts 10 verse 38. Date is Saturday the 26th of March to Saturday April 1st, 2023. Below are the dates and venues. 27th March, Avatime Vanle Community Center. 28th March, Avatime Amejokwe Market Square. 29th is Avatime, Jokbepeme Primary School Compound. 30th March, Avatime Biakpa Community Center. 31st March, Avatime Bajame Community Center. Then April 1st is Avatime Fume and Jokwe Community Center. The time is 6:30 p.m. every day. Speakers, Reverend Michael K.M. Asiama.
We have redemption. We have been redeemed from the iniquities of the life. So you don't need to beg anymore. Oh, in Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God.
Reverend Samuel Avagame and Reverend Prince Mawali Ajay, kindly consider with a generous heart donating to this noble cause financially, materially, or with your time and presence. Note, there will be free health screening during the day for all. Contact us on WhatsApp 0044 7851 205 626 or on mobile 054 959 1452 054 959 1452 or email us at admin@powerwordint.co.uk.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to 10:51. So 9 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's now time for us to go global trotting. So let's take the journey. And I'm here to deliver on my promise. If you send me a message, I promise you I'm gonna read that. Okay, so when it comes straight to Nigeria, now tensions as 6 states ask Supreme Court to nullify 2023 presidential elections. That is quite a serious one, and INEC discloses when supplementary elections will be held. And then Unwobodo flays Enugu North Senator elect over comment. In Maduguri, President Muhammad Buhari inaugurates North Power Plant state project. An aviation sector concession should follow due process. Some of the stories making around. Rivers APC dams Tony Kole and pledges to vote Wike's governor's candidate. And then Buhari Tinubu salute Adeboye at 81. And the PDP loses 2 Senate, 6 rep seats in Cross River State. We are ready to meet Obi, Labour Party, in court, says APC. Well, Obi says, I'm going to go to court. Well, the APC have come out to say, you know what? Yeah, we are ready to meet you in court. But is it them that Obi wants to take to court, or it's taking INEC to court? Well, maybe they'll be part of the ones that are going to be presented with the how did they even say it? They'll also be one of the respondents. So we'll see what is going to happen from there. But oil explosion kills many in Rivers. It's one of the stories making the rounds as well. Labour Party chieftain Okundaye kicks against violence to address poll results. And then many fear death in Rivers crude oil explosion, as I did say earlier on. We'll be telling you more about that. Breaking El-Rufai, Bello, Matawale storm Supreme Court as judgment on Naira is supposed to be taking place today. We'll see what the Supreme Court says about that. But a lot more going to be coming your way from there. So don't you go away once I have Mr. Olayomi Koyeki for you. Ohainze Ndigbo declares support for Sanwo-Olu's re-election. Why? How? Alright then. Well. We'll be telling you more about that. It looks like the Igbos, okay, that's on Ohainze. They are supporting Sanwo-Olu, who is the governor of Lagos. Okay. Now let's move on to some other parts of the world. Looking at some of the stories on the African continent. Gabon, Bongo, Gabon. that is Gabon. In Gabon, Bongo Macron take part in a summit to protect rainforest. The Gabonese president Ali Bongo Ondimba hosted his French counterparts Emmanuel Macron in Libreville with several Central African heads of state. Well, a nice picture there. We're going to be looking at that. Migrants made homeless in Tunisia purge plead for help. And then Mali, experts weigh in on draft constitution. Are they going to accept it? Will it fall into the timetable? Now, at the moment, they cannot have a referendum on that. So I don't know. They might have to adjust the timetable to get that referendum done as well. Now, Nigeria's presidential race runner-up calls polls results a rape of democracy. So the question is, if we believe that the system or the process of electing our leaders are not good or will not give us the necessary what term should I use? Judgment that we want. So let me put it that way. So the people go vote, and the judgment is that the people want you or they dislike you. But the question is, if we don't believe in it, do we have to participate in it? Especially when we know that the system or the way it's all been set up is not good enough. Somebody say, try it. Maybe you get into government, and then you can change it. But anytime people get into government, they forget about that because they think that now they are going to use it to also better themselves or work in their interest. But what do you think about all that? It's all going to be coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Well, still on the African continent, one more. DRC M23 Control Road reopened and closed. Now we'll be telling you more about that happening there as well. All right then. So now let's move on quickly to some of the other stories. 10:56 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program. Got Traditional Council resolved to vehemently oppose Kayaye Hostel. Wow. Why are they opposing Kayaye Hostel? That is something that the president promised, or the MPP promised at the time, that when they come into power, they were going to build a Kayaye hostel so that those who porters, they call them head porters or whatever they call them, in town, in Accra, will be able to have a place where after their daily chores, they can go and lay their heads. A place where they can at least just have some decency and then be able to wake up in the next morning to come in. But the Traditional Council resolved to vehemently oppose that. But if you oppose that, the people are here. They are in Accra already. So what do you do about that? What do you expect government to do? Should they just leave them like that? Or is it a place where it's situated that they are concerned? They cannot go and put them, the whole thing, the whole incident or trade or whatever business happens in the center of Accra. Do you want them to go and put them in somewhere in Achimota or the outskirts of Accra so that they travel from there to come? No, they wouldn't do that because it's going to cause them to travel as well. So adding more salt to their wound, or rubbing salt in their wound. So why would they want to do that? Well. It is on Starr Radio UK. Not even Speaker can disallow government business in Parliament. Majority Leader on minorities' objection to the ECCI. So what is the point then? Okay, National Security Minister slapped with 50,000 Ghana cedis penalty by Right to Information Commission. Other than when you need information, all that you have to do, pay whatever you have to pay, and then send an application in, and then that should be released to you. But well, I think they have their view that, you know what, some of the information is like that we cannot, in no means, release to the general public. Is that what they're trying to say? Well, lots more going to be coming your way. Security man charged with attempted murder, robbery, escapes from police custody. How? When? We'll be telling you more about that. Now in the UK, well, you remember the Partygate? Well, when the question is posed about, did you know anything about the parties that took place in number 10 Downing Street? No, we are waiting for Sue Gray's report. Sue Gray's report. Now, this happened that Sue Gray, after publishing that report, doing that inquiry and publishing the report and everything, has decided to actually resign and go work for the opposition leader, that is Sir Keir Starmer. So top official Sue Gray has been offered a job as chief of staff to Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer. So the question is, did he have that at the back of their mind? Did they know that they wanted to do that? And therefore, maybe she was looking at the whole investigation in a different a biased Google. Is that what she was doing? Well, lots more going to be coming your way from there as well. A couple to appear in court after baby's body found. Constance Martin and Mark Gordon are charged with gross negligence manslaughter. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. In other parts of the world as well, Belarus activist sentenced to 10 years in jail. Nobel Prize winner Ales Bialatsky was accused of smuggling cash into Belarus to fund protest. Well, give a dog a bad name, and what can you do? You hang it. Now, half of the world could be overweight by 2035. Oh my goodness. Ukraine orders evacuation of city it recaptured. Families are told to leave Kupiansk, okay, which Ukraine retook from Russia in September. What is happening there? We'll be telling you more about that. And Cambodia opposition leader giving 27 years sentence. Rights groups say Kem Sokha's sentence for treason is politically motivated and unfounded. And as I'm saying, give a dog a bad name. You can do what? Hang it as much as you want. Well, this all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Dozens of girls treated after new Iran poisonings. Now, at least 26 schools in 5 cities are affected by another wave of apparent toxic gas attack. How? Where? When? And an Egypt pyramid hidden corridor seen for the first time. An endoscopy was used to film inside the 9-meter long space whose purpose is still unknown. Now, Israel's crackdown on judicial reforms protests. Now, roads and railways are blocked as the government presses ahead with an overhaul of the judiciary. Now, uranium particles enriched to 83.7% found in Iran. It's one of the stories making the rounds there as well. So a lot more going to be coming your way wherever you are. Don't touch the dial. Let me say good morning to Shamsuddin Oladipupo, and thank you very much for joining in. But for now, let's enjoy this song from Sami Okposo, and he says, "I thirst for you." I thirst for God, and I long to have you, my lovely viewers and listeners, with me as well. What about that? Good morning once again. Enjoy. I'll be with you.
Clap your hands, everybody. Come on. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody lift your voice.
Smartphone. This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
Somebody lift your voice. I wanna be where you are.
Starr saying, I thirst for you, I thirst for you. We all thirst for something, right? Are we thirst for God or our Creator? God is the source of our strength and everything, of course. It was Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi joining us. But whilst we wait for him to prepare the grounds to join us as well, or as we prepare the grounds for him to join us as well, and whilst you are enjoying that tune from Sammy Oposo, let me tell you a few of the stories that is making the rounds in Nigeria. Some of the headlines there that I did touch on earlier on, a bit of details from there.
Come on, sing. Take over me. My life is yours.
Now, Rivers APC has done Tony Cole and pledged to vote Wike's governor candidate. Now, some more Progressive Congress APC Presidential Council, that is the PCC, members in Rivers State have pledged to support Siminalayi Fubara of the People's Democratic Party, the anointed governorship candidate of the state governor Nyesom Wike in March 11 governorship and state assembly elections. Now, Tony Cole, the anointed candidate of Rotimi Amechi, a former governor of the state, is the governorship candidate of the APC. I remember when, before the elections, when Tinubu went to River State, I think the Southeast, he had a word with Wike, and Wike said, you know what, we'll support you on the presidential, but when it comes to the gubernatorial or the governorship elections, please don't waste your money, because we are going to be voting for the PDP candidate. So is that what the PDP did in the Southwest or in that part of the world? In the River State? Well, I'll be telling you more about that in the next few moments when we have Mr. Olayomi coming. The controversy surrounding the just concluded presidential and national assembly election in Nigeria has escalated, with 6 state governments dragging the federal government to the Supreme Court over the conduct of the exercise. The 6 states, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo and Sokoto, have asked the Supreme Court to nullify the elections. Now, the states which are controlled by the opposition People's Democratic Party want the Supreme Court to rule that the declaration of the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, as the winner of the February 25th presidential election is null and void. They added that the whole result of the presidential election, as announced by the chairman of the Independent National Election Commission, Mohammed Yakubu, violates provisions of the Electoral Act. But the question is, do you think that they're going to be hearkening to him at all? Now, it's only in what do you call that place, Kenya, where we saw that the Supreme Court was able to rule and nullify an election result, and they had to rerun that election. A call for a rerun, which we know that at that time the opposition at the time decided to not to contest. I think if my judgment, if my thoughts, are right.
Come on, sing.
So, are we going to see anything different in Nigeria? We don't see after the 6 states dragged the Supreme Court, dragged the presidential or the INEC and the federal government to the Supreme Court.
Come on, sing.
Well, as I did say earlier, El-Rufai, Bello, Matawale, storm Supreme Court as judgment on Naira crisis holds today. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, and the governor of Governor Bello Matawale of the Zamfara State stormed the Supreme Court this morning as judgment on the Naira crisis holds today. The Apex Court has adjourned till March 3. The judgment ensued filed by these 3 governors. But as to whether the federal government is going to hearken to, or the Supreme Court is going to rule against or to nullify that amount, what do you call that? Do I say the new Naira notes and stuff like that, and the whole process that's going on. I'm not very sure about that. Masamia Puso, more of you. I need more of you. I thirst for you. So I know I'm testing for Mr. Olayomi Koiki with all the good information. Someone will say it's not that information that we bring that is good, though, but the truthful ones that we bring all the time. The truth that will bring you. As a good book says, you have to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And that is exactly what we do here. So we're going to be crossing straight to the North London studios, where I have got my one and only the White Lion, Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Yomi, good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe, and welcome once again to the last part of the week on the Starr Radio UK morning show, where we bring you all the update from Nigeria and whatever is happening, around the globe, especially with the diaspora, because we have, huge diaspora, Nigerians that are outside. They are doing very well. Most are concerned back home, especially during this very important time. Most are very, very well informed of what is going on back home, but this is where we can tell you exactly what is going on the Starr Radio UK morning show. And I say very good morning to you back again, Mr. Archie, and I welcome everyone that have joined us so far and those that are going to be joining us later on as well. Opportunity is there, but the question is, how do we make use of those opportunity when we don't have the right government in place, when we don't have the right policy? Most diaspora wants to go back home, but most have been stuck outside Nigeria, some for the last 4 decades. Starr Radio UK, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, that debate will go on one day. We'll have a talk about that. Do you want to stay wherever you are in the diaspora, or you want to go back home? And with all this insecurity, you build your house and you are going out. As whether you are going to come back, you're not very sure of all that. But we'll have a time to discuss that. But Yomi, how are you doing?
Well, I'm always doing very well, and I'm always happy because, when we have, the world as it is, you give thanks. Frank always say, when you are alive, you will then have a lot, and it makes me remember, the Ghanaian footballer. And each time my mind goes back to, how people could go to bed and, incident happen. You look at what is happening, especially somewhere, as well in Turkey. You become more concerned. You look at what the situation that Nigerians are facing this time around as well, and again you feel concerned. Africa has a lot to offer the world, but the question is, do we have the right system in place to offer Africa what it takes, especially when people look up to Nigeria as a country that is meant to give back, but unfortunately Nigeria is not giving back enough. And this is the reason why, election like Nigerian election is not just important alone to Africa, is also important to the international community. And when there is unrest, there's always problem, especially when it's from, from Nigeria. So I'm doing very well, and it's good to be back again this morning, like I said. Again, as long as when you look at, countries like Colombia, where the indigenous in one of the news are on the routers, because this reason why we're coming a bit late, because I've been up very early. I went back to bed. Routers, in Colombia, somewhere in Colombia, they've actually, had to, put 76 police officers on hostages and the oil field workers, because the community has not been taken care by the same, energy company, the petroleum company, just like what we have during the Kensarawiwa that was eventually killed by the late Sani Abacha. So these are issues not just in Nigeria, but these are issues affecting a lot as well in Africa. And until we're able to look into all these, then we will continue to ask questions.
Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK from our North London studios, or in our North London studios, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. I'm actually here in the South studios, and it's a Friday edition of the morning show. Now, let's crack on with the updates from Nigeria. Now, many are feared dead in a Rivers crude oil explosion. Another one, Yomi?
Well, yes, I was just coming up with that news as well. River State has abundant oil, crude oil, but the question then is with the situation of insecurity, with the situation of also negligence of the government for a very long time, not literally this particular government. We are talking about government in the past. So the news coming out of Nigeria this morning is not coming very good. With the report of the carnage of what has happened again. But we hope that the government will be looking into such. But like I said, I'm just getting that report as well as I was just coming on air. So let me give you a bit of background to that story before we move further. Again, once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So you're quite right. Many fear death as the crude oil tapping point explode. What do we mean by that? That means that there's bunkering. There's the legal, person trying to manipulate, the proper channel of the crude oil going through, and these has created, a lot. Unspecified numbers of persons are feared being dead after a crude oil tapping point in Rumakpe community in Enuola, local government area of the River State, exploded at the early hours of this morning. Just similar to what I was saying, earlier when I was coming on, with the situation when it comes to the community that I was discussing in Colombia. What could lead to where people? I mean, we do know that there's the legal mining, there's the legal crude oil, but it seems that we've lost again ordinary individuals that probably should not have died this morning, but for the negligence of the system. Who are those behind it? We do know that, when it comes to tapping of the crude oil pipeline, this is not, a man selling pepper on the side road. These are very professionals. And when I say professionals, sometimes they have international hands in it as well.
Wow. They have international hands in it. And apparently the country is losing or hemorrhaging up to about $4 billion a year from that siphoning. But again, somebody will tell you that if the people, the indigenous people in that particular part of the world are not seeing anything that is happening, again, the siphoning, you think how much do the indigenous even get? It's all to do with all these big hooks, whether they are international bodies or who are making those monies. But, well, what do you think about all that? It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, after the pronouncement of Tinubu as the president, we were expecting that, well, by this time, as the APC were saying, or the presidential, whatever, they had a team who were calling on Atiku and Peter Obi to congratulate or concede so that peace will come. But we have the Peter Obi saying that that's the my apologies. Peter Obi on Thursday, March 2, said he won the contest and he also vowed to reclaim his mandate through legal and peaceful means. Now, Obi came third in the election result released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. But addressing journalists in Abuja yesterday, the former Anambra State governor said he will prove he won the election. We will explore all legal and peaceful options to reclaim our mandate. We won the election and we will prove it to Nigerians, Obi said. Now, which kind of court is it going to be proving that elections, Yomi?
Well, they will have to go to the tribunal court. Each election in Nigeria also have, tribunals set up because of cases like, what Peter Obi was discussing. I was following not just Peter Obi. Peter Obi spoke before Atiku. Atiku actually spoke after Peter Obi. And, part of what both of them were discussing is, again, that they are not conceding defeat. And when you don't concede defeat, that literally means that you would then have to go to the court. Yesterday, remember that we were looking at Chidi. Chidi was saying that, Juju court is what we have in Nigeria. We don't have a court where you can actually get your mandate back. But we shouldn't look, we shouldn't throw everything out of the mud yet, because we don't know. We don't know whether what is going to happen maybe prophecies, because some have been saying some prophecies. We believe in so much prophecy in Nigeria, but what are the communities saying? What are the social cultural groups saying? And this is the point. I was listening to the Ohaize Indigo, which is similar to Afenifere. Remember that the Afenifere actually spoke, and part of what they spoke about was that should Peter Obi not be given the opportunity of becoming the Nigerian president, then everybody should forget about Nigeria unity. That is the same message coming from the Ohaize Indigo, even up to the point when they were asked, should Tinubu be swearing on the May 29th? He was very clear in his words, which I'm going to get the audio before the end of the program, that should that happen, we should all forget about Nigeria. Would that mean that they're going to be pulling out of Nigeria and endorsing the Biafra that they probably did not support in the first place? Would the Afenifere will be endorsing the Yoruba nation that they probably support, but not to the extent of moving out of Nigeria? So, and what the Ohaize are saying, that it seems that INEC really want Nigeria to break up. But again, Peter Obi and Atiku will be heading to the court. The presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, have both refused to concede defeat in the 25th presidential election that took place. And we should probably get a bit of the soundtrack from what both of them said yesterday. And this is exactly, the response from Atiku during the interview. Then we go back to Peter Obi as well.
Will appear to confirm earlier permutation that he will draw votes from you. Looking at the outcome of the election with the benefit of hindsight, do you regret the fact that you could not work together under a single platform? And secondly, I'm also wondering about your thoughts on the perception that the PDP seems to be in trouble today because of your insistence on contesting election at a time there was the clamor for a southern presidential candidate. What do you have to say, sir? Thank you.
Let's listen to him. That's Atiku respond.
We're taking the very last question. Yes.
Let's move that forward. This is the response from Atiku.
Would not make him a president.
I think that let's move a little bit back.
On the presidential candidates to respond accordingly. Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, about the Labour Party, whether at the time Peter decided to leave PDP and join Labour Party, we had not, I believe, begun our primary process. So the question of whether he was going to get a ticket or not, did not arise. Yes, agreed, that is a fact. He took our votes from the southeast and south-south. And that, of course, would not make him a president.
Well, so that is a bit of a response. Now, let's hear a little bit from Peter Obi as well in one of the interview that he granted as well yesterday. This is Peter Obi, and it was very emotional. He was almost crying, but I could see a little bit of water, but it seems, the APC have told him you have to go to the court. Let's listen to him.
The election that we just witnessed have been conducted and results announced as programmed. It is a clear vision from electoral rules and guidelines as we were promised. This election did not meet the minimum standard expected of a free, transparent, credible, fair election. It will go down as one of the most controversial elections ever conducted in Nigeria. The good and hard-working people of Nigeria have again been robbed by our supposed leaders whom they trusted. However, let me humbly and most respectfully appeal to all Nigerians to remain peaceful, law-abiding, and conduct themselves in most responsible manner. Please be assured.
And that is Peter Obi, and I can confirm that, as Peter Obi was saying there, one of the most controversial elections in the history of Nigeria, I can confirm that someone has committed suicide just because of this election. A young boy at the age of 19 that believed that Peter Obi should have been the president. May so rest in peace.
Oh, wow. That is a sad one. That is a sad one. Was he having any mental ailment of a sort? What exactly took place for him to? Because he's not somebody who, like a business, big hook who has got lots of monies and invested in that campaign or that the whole process and said that, oh, I've lost big time. So why did the person?
Well, according to the report, a young boy from Plateau State commits suicide and died after Peter Obi election was rigged. The 19-year-old boy left a short note behind which read, "No hope for Nigeria for the next 20 years after Obi lost the election. I'd rather end it now than to live in a hell called Nigeria." Wow. The small boy was part of the people that protested in the sun and rain to market Peter Obi, but got disappointed by the INEC that rigged the election in favor of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So rest in peace, and we don't know his health condition before he committed suicide.
Wow, wow. Listeners, it's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Aziz Badasarik said, good morning, brothers. Koi here, and good morning to you, Mr. Archie, with the rest of the team. Good morning to you, Aziz, as well. Olakunle said, good afternoon, everyone here. And special greetings to Mr. Archie and White Lion. We salute you and hope you're all doing very, very well. It is Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. Now, Yomi, the Supreme Court has ruled, giving a ruling on the Naira. Do you have any facts to that?
I'm going to have a look at that in just about a few minutes because I was actually going to go straight again to Tunisia, where Nigeria.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go to Tunisia first. Yes.
Yes. From the report and the headline that I have here, Nigerians and others have been attacked. In Tunisia after the president's side called blacks criminals, black African criminals. Tunisia president claimed their president was a source of violence and unacceptable act. I mean, imagine, an African president also, putting blame on other African, and this would also mean a reaction. Several Nigerians as well as their Ivorians have fled their homes in Tunisia in the face of the sanction attack, taking refuge on the premises of the country's embassy. They were attacked by Tunisian nationals as President Kais Saied continued to deepen discrimination, unfair prejudice against dark-skinned people from Africa. Mr. Saied recently announced the sub-Saharan migrant were on a mission to weaken the country's Islamic Arab identity, and the presence in the country has to end. There is a criminal plan to change the composition of the demographic landscape in Tunisia, and some individuals have received large sum of money to give residence to sub-Saharan migrants, he said in the statement. A very, very issue that we're going to be discussing more, probably maybe, on Niger Voices. How do Africans, whether, the Ghana that were chased away in Nigeria in the 80s, how do we respond to all these issues in the 21st century? As I speak to you right now, Nigerians are calling us almost every day. They are being taken away, and sometimes they are being killed in Benghazi, in Libya. We know what has happened in Libya after the death of Gaddafi, and the situation that end up to what it is right now. But the question is, is it possible that in 2 days that a prime minister in an African country is now saying enough of those that are also Africans, because they are changing the demographic situation in there. So we're going to come back again in that, but now let me go straight with the Supreme Court delivered judgment on the Naira redesign. From what we have, a 7-member panel of the Supreme Court on 22 February had the Naira redesign suit and adjourned till today for judgment. The Supreme Court is set to deliver on the suit filed by some state government to challenge the federal government Naira redesign policy. We do know that El Rufai have said it clearly, when Tinubu becomes the president, that will be changing, but Tinubu still have up to the May to take the baton from President Muhammadu Buhari. So whatever decision is still going to be taking place right now, President Muhammadu Buhari still remain the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Members of the panel that were led by John Okoro are expected to file in the courtroom this morning. The controversial monetary policy being challenged at the Supreme Court had last year introduced. But as I speak to you right now, there is no update yet, on that. But definitely, we might probably be getting an update, if time permits before the end of this program. If otherwise, we'll be giving you the update on Monday when we come back. But as I speak to you right now, yes, the Supreme Court on the old Naira note judgment is expected on the CBN new design. So we'll have to wait for that judgment before we can, decide whether there will be any changes. But a lot of Nigerians have faced so much in terms of difficulties assessing what President Muhammadu Buhari believes is the right thing to do, changing the Naira note just prior before the election.
Well, listen, there's quite an interesting twist there, but we'll be telling you more. As Yomi said, we'll be monitoring as and when we get any feed from the courts. We'll be bringing that information your way. But if you have any feed, you can also bring it. Olakunle says, we will be here to see how the whole INEC drama plays out. And it says, now just this morning, I used 1,000 Naira to get 4,000 Naira new notes. Wow. From POS, Nigeria is the hell we all are talking about. Wow. So, I don't get it, You made the money scarce and people have to now, buy the new Naira notes with lots of the old Naira. Doesn't make sense at all, Yomi.
Well, Nigerians have always been making use of the POS. The only difference now is that the POS doesn't have enough of the new Naira note, and that literally is why, inflation has come up on the POS. POS, for those that does not understand, is just a point of, sales where you can go there with your bank card, the money deducted from your bank, and you get the note, but you pay a little bit. But it seems that Nigerians have been paying more to access the new Naira note. So it has always been using money to buy money. I don't know, we have the same system at some point. When I came to the country, where you have to, the bank has to charge you on the ATM until, that was cancelled. But there's still some airport and there's still some ATM that you have to pay about £1.50 should you really need that money. But most banks here in UK, is it free? So, and there's no point of sales where you have to go to a nearby corner shop and then give them your bank card.
And then they give you some money.
You get money out of them. But as it is in Nigeria, not that the Nigeria has not done very well in the banking system, because in terms of the security around the banking system is much better than here in UK. But the problem is investment has not been put into almost all the 774 local government to be able to have what they call the ATM rather than the POS. But Naira has always been bought. The only difference now is you are paying more when it comes to getting this new one that is not available and has become more scarcity across the country.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, 11:35 the time. I'll go back to Yomi for you to bring you the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you so much. As you're announcing the situation in the river, we pray for the family of those that have been affected this morning. And likewise, as we have been saying, we hope the federal government of Nigeria will be looking into the issues of Nigerians being called, all kind of names and being attacked as well. INEC certificate only credential, Tinubu. INEC certificate only credential Tinubu ever obtained. Charlie Boy, in that headline that is coming as well. 6 states asked Supreme Court to nullify Tinubu's victory over these 2023. So it seems that there's still more problem ahead. The presidential poll that produced Bola Tinubu has been questioned at the Supreme Court by 6 states. What are the states? Definitely states that are linked to PDP, definitely. And these are the states: Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, and Sokoto have all filed a suit before the Supreme Court against the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. It is when he favors them, that is when they rush to the court. But when it doesn't favor Nigerians, they are not talking, because Nnamdi Kanu, like we always use him as our example, is still being held, incommunicado, yes, yesterday his legal team, made a courtesy visit again to him. But the question is, if all these state governors have actually backed Nnamdi Kanu, maybe today it would have been a different thing. But this is their own now, and they are running straight to the court to get a judgment. Was not in compliance with the Electoral Act and the nationwide failure to electronically transmit results from the polling unit runs foul of multiple provisions of the electoral law. The governors of the 6 states are all members of the PDP, definitely, whose candidate Atiku Abubakar scored 6.9 to become running up to President-elect Bola Tinubu, who pulled almost 8 million in the graph that we continue to show you, each time before, today. But again, we will have to wait, and everybody will have to wait to see what the outcome is going to be like. Again, Voters Awareness Initiative says 2023 presidential election peaceful and credible. More Nigerians are now preparing for the next week Saturday governorship election, and the campaign on the Twitter by those that lost out, especially the Labour, saying we must take almost all the state, and they're encouraging people to come out to vote. Again, as we speak, we talked about the 109 billion fraud case has been adjourned. Trial of the suspended AGF. Court transfer Kenwood actress criminal case as well is coming from the headline. And then we take one or two more, and then we go straight to the social media. Once again, we're monitoring the situation in Rivers State that has led to the death of so many Nigerians this morning by those that are doing what they call illegal bunkering. Illegal bunkering is something that happens a lot in Nigeria, but it is not done by ordinary Nigerians. It has always been done by those that knows where the pipeline is in the first place. And remember that in Lagos State, we've seen explosion as well happening in the past because of these illegal, bunkering that has created havoc, because those that are doing such never consider the community in the first place. So once again, the rest of the headline that we have, Obi could not have won presidential election, according to Peter Atiku. Atiku believes that yes, Obi took part of their vote, in this election, but yet he would not have won should election has gone according to what it's meant to be. We talked about the explosion, and then we go straight to the social media. Yesterday was the birthday where we almost didn't remember, but no, sorry, today, not yesterday. Well, yesterday, I believe. Buhari salute Adeboye at 81. President Muhammadu Buhari said he remains grateful for the friendliness and the wise counsels of the RCC General Overseer for many years. President Muhammadu Buhari has joined leaders and members of the Redeemed Christian Church of God in celebrating the General Overseer of the the General Overseer Enoch Adeboye as they celebrate his 81st birthday. And as we see from here as well on Starr Radio UK, mostly called Daddy. Happy birthday to you from Starr Radio UK. Once again, 11:40, so we're going to go straight to the social media and look at what is trending, as a lot of Nigerians are still reacting to the current situation in terms of these elections. So the election is the most talked about on the social media. As usual, the Biafra are trending, more push, more campaign. They are still going to be sitting down at home. Okay, I think the breaking news is coming right now from the Apex Court. Also nullified the federal government Naira redesign policy, declaring it as the affront to the 1999 Constitution. So the breaking news, the court as of today has ordered that the old 200, 500 and the 1,000 Naira notes remain in circulation till the end of this year. So that's the breaking news that is coming right now on the Starr Radio UK. So this is what the old Naira looks like. So if you have got this in the house, please keep it now, because the breaking news coming right now says you will be able to spend that money. It is still a legal tender according to the federal government, according to the Apex Court this morning, and that is the breaking news that is coming. The Igbo is actually trending, and I'll tell you the reason why that is trending. There is these, belief by some Yorubas that are playing, these out to say that the Igbo are going to be taking Lagos in this election because of Labour Party. So the push now is the candidate of the Labour Party an Igbo man, or as a wife that's got to be an Igbo woman. So the question then is, do we allow Lagos State to be taken away by the Igbo, even though as we speak right now, they are all Nigerians, but there's some skepticism around the Yorubas that the Igbo people are trying to take Lagos away from them. But each time I looked at that kind of conversation, the question is, do we talk about the Chinese that destroyed Osun State, where the gold reserves were destroyed, with evidence? We have the federal government did nothing. Do we talk about the other that are coming into the country? But as that has been playing out, more Nigerians are now coming out with Davido is married to an Igbo girl, and they are doing very well. The governor of Osun State is an Igbo and is a governor. Even Seyi Tinubu, the president's son, is also married to an Igbo woman. So why now are they all complaining? And this is generating a lot of conversation. And as I speak to you right now, 138,000 retweets on the name alone, Igbo. And again, let's take a look at some of what is trending in terms of this conversation. Seyi Tinubu's wife, Igbo from Anambra, her name is Chinwe. She's Peter Obi's sister. Only a fool will allow them to be used. I am the daughter of one of your elite, and the elite doesn't fight themselves. Region and tribal hatred are weapons fashioned against the trench. So, again, 6 feet tall Igbo girl is trending. Igbo people are not wanted in Nigeria. Let's go home. This is another threat from an APC member. Biafra is the only solution, according to Critics News. So this is really generating, Nigeria is not for Igbo. Let's go home then. It seems that Nigeria doesn't want to allow the Igbo people to go. And again, the question then is, should we remain as Nigerians? Every Nigerians have the right to live in wherever they want to live, because that is what the Constitution is saying. But it seems that some part of Lagos disagree with that, and that is playing out right now into the social media. That is how far we take, because I believe that is the most important conversation right now on the social media regarding Lagos is not for the Igbo, why some believe that Lagos is no man's land. So it's becoming a lot of controversial, conversation on the social media this morning.
Wow. Please, let's hold our peace when it comes to that, because you are all fighting for a cause. And then if, both of you are going to say, we don't want that one doesn't want that, then we're going to be in trouble, because then the focus of government is going to be, look at these people, they are fighting, let's clamp down on them. You don't want that to happen. But the question is Labour Party an Igbo party? It is not. The fact that the candidate is, the presidential candidate is an Igbo person doesn't make Labour Party an Igbo party. Neither will we say that the APC is a Yoruba party because Tinubu is leading that. No, that's not how it works there. But Prince Abimbola says that he is talking about the he says, thank God it's Friday, the Supreme Court has ordered the old notes and is still a legal tender until the 23rd of December 2023. So we're going to be spending the money. If you have it, as Yomi said, bring it. Let's go to Nigeria. Let's go spend before the 23rd of December. But we don't know what the federal government.
At least mine will get to Nigeria before the end of the year. I still have some here as well. So if I have to now spend this money and send it home, this is mine, and I have the 500 naira, which is a lot of it that I have, because this is a big note. I don't have the 200, but I have the 1000 as well. So mine will get to Nigeria in time before December 2020.
Yeah, see, this man has got lots of money here. But whatever it is, we don't know what the bank of the Central Bank of Nigeria is going to say. They are going to react to that. They might say something. We don't know whether they can appeal that, or we don't know, and what the federal government is going to do, because we know that Buhari, after the Supreme Court ruled that the money should be allowed, people should be allowed to use that money, he came out to say that no, you can only spend the 200. We will allow you to 200 naira, but the others they wouldn't allow. So we don't know what is going to happen there. But whatever it is, keep on sending us the information, and we'll put it across as well. Yami, before we go.
Well, the weekend is here, and this is always on Star Radio UK. So please tune into all the the news, the music, the fate on Sunday, and everything that is happening. But the best way you can do so is, if you're not on Twitter, get a Twitter and make sure you follow the Star Radio UK on the Twitter handle, where you'll be able to monitor what is happening. I will be back on Monday. May Nigeria not happen to us as we go over the weekend. And as we always say, let us remain our calm for those of us that are campaigning, and those that are also, putting the narrative out there that the Igbo are taking away, the Yoruba land. They can't take away the Yoruba land. The Yoruba land will always be the Yoruba land, but everybody has a right to live where they can live right now. And maybe in the near future, we can decide whether somebody that's a criminal cannot live with us, or it can be somebody that will live with us but would abide by the constitution of the country that it is. But right now, the 1999 constitution guarantees every Nigerian to live wherever they want to live, and that is the way it's going to be for now. Star Radio UK, I'll be back again on Monday morning. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Yomi. We'll catch up later. Listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi bringing you updates from Nigeria. It's now 12 minutes to the top of the hour. As I did say earlier on, let's do our best to live peaceably with all men. Like, look at what is happening in Tunisia, with a statement that the Tunisian president Said made, and what is happening to black Africans now in Tunisia, where most countries are trying to repatriate their indigents or their people back to the country, their country, because they are saying that because they are black, so they are criminals. So if we on the same continent are calling ourselves that, then if the Caucasians call us that, what do we say? Well. We'll be looking at all that in a moment. But now, let's enjoy this song from Mo Ali. It's a cover version of Bob Marley's song, and it says, get up, stand up for your right, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned, don't you go away.
All around the world. In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
The best radio show.
Sometimes
Yes, they're bringing you a cover version of Bob Marley's tunes. Get up, stand up for your right, stand up for your right, stand up for your right wherever you are. Stand up for your right, but use wisdom to do it. That's it. We want to stand up for our rights at times, but we don't use wisdom, and we end up not getting what we really wanted because we didn't apply wisdom. You should be very tactful. Yeah. All right then, it's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let me bring you this announcement. Now, God willing, Monday is supposed to be the 6th of it's not supposed, it's the 6th of March, which is Ghana's Independence Day. Now we're trying to see to bring you a cover of what some flag raising event that will be taking place at Croydon. The Croydon Council will be having one of Labour's mayors there who will be leading that, and our own Vicky Newton will be bringing that as well with Mr. KB Bossman. So we're doing our best to see whether an arrangement will go through. If that goes through, then we're going to bring you a live feed from there to all of you from across the diaspora who will be celebrating that Independence Day. Okay, Independence Day since 1957. So how far have we gone? Are we developing? Are we retrogressing? The number of people that we have now, per capita income, and everything that has gone on in the country. So some would say, you know what? It's COVID, yes, and the Russia invasion of Ukraine that has caused all our pain. But you know, if you have to. There's a kind of adage that says that if you can't carry your burden, you blame it on the cloth that you have put there as to serve as a bumper or some cushioning style, so that you not feel the pain. You blame it on it. So maybe they are blaming it on that. But what do you think about all that? We'll be talking more about that, God willing, on Monday. But hey, 6 minutes to the top of the hour at a time. Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program. Let's crack on. Let's look at some of the other stories making the rounds. As I did say, yes, those of you on Twitter, I salute each and every one of you, and thank you very much for following us on Twitter as well, and all the programs that we bring you. Those who follow us on Twitter, we salute each and every one of you, and all the other social media platforms. Those of you on YouTube, those of you on Periscope, those of you on Facebook, those of you on our apps as well. I salute you and thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. It is Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on straight to some of the stories, other stories making the rounds this morning. Now on the African continent, now violence faced by marginalized Tunisian youth expressed in art project. It's one of the stories making the rounds there. And Battle of Adwa, Ethiopia celebrates victory against Italy invasion. Ethiopia was the only African country not colonized by a European power as a result of the victory, leaving it as one of the few nations to remain uncolonized. But how has that helped them as a country? Maybe if they were colonized, maybe they would have had more developments done. But look at the war and everything that is going on there. Somebody said that, well, they were not colonized. They were strong. They stood their grounds and didn't allow colonial masters to actually come and rape their resources and stuff like that. So, but the thing is, how have our own leaders, our own kind, how have they actually served us and helped us all up? Have they been milking it and suppressing us? Is that what has happened there? Well. It's Starr Radio UK. You know, we are our own worst enemies, you know. Yes, I do say that all the time. Okay, and as I did say, Ivory Coast, Guinea are to fly their citizens from Tunisia after the outcry, and a court ruling on LGBTQ will have overseen implications. Kenya National Assembly Speaker is saying there as well. Illegal refinery blast in Nigeria kills 12, and scientists discover a hidden corridor in Egyptian pyramid. Okay, interesting. Scientists have discovered a hidden passage inside Egypt's Great Pyramid. The authorities announced on Thursday, part of a 7-year international research project. The passage is 9 meters, that's 30 feet in length, and more than 2 meters in width. The Antiquities Ministry said in a statement. Now, Egypt's Tourism and Antiquities Minister Ahmed Isa told reporters at the ancient site in Giza, also known as the Khufu, or Cheops pyramid that the gabbled corridor with a triangular ceiling was found on the north face of the Great Pyramid of King Khufu. The discovery was part of the Scan Pyramids project launched in 2015 as a collaboration between major universities in France, Germany, Canada, and Japan, and a group of Egyptian experts. Archaeologist Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former antiquities minister, heads the committee supervising the project, which uses advanced technology to visualize hidden parts of the pyramid's interior without having to excavate it. Well, I think that's what they have to do. Then I stop all this excavation thing that seems to be going on. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. When they see that, they want to go in there to go and see what is actually in there. But it's all coming away from Starr, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. In some other stories, Mali's draft constitution, which gives the president sweeping powers, has elicited diverse views. Now, the text, which was presented to army ruler Assimi Goita on Monday, February 27, is supposed to replace that of 1992 constitutional expert Fuseinu Dumbia says the draft has some progressive provisions. This draft constitution, as it has been characterized, it must be said, firstly of all, by provisions which make it possible to consolidate democracy, the rule of law, and even to certain extent peace. Now, because not everything is bad and not everything is good too, there are some very, very encouraging provisions that should be applauded, even though those provisions did not exist in the past. Now, constitutional change is one of the string of major reforms launched by the military after it ousted Mali's elected government in August 2020. Now, political parties have questioned the need for a new constitution, calling it an excuse by the army to delay a return to civilian rule. Now, if we do not touch certain red lines that the power of revision cannot touch, it makes no sense. If we do not deal with elements that could allow us to talk about refocusing, it makes no sense, Dr. Dumbia said. Now, it is often a question of what the purpose of developing a new constitution will be if all provisions which are proposed are subject to revision. What is expected behind, we do not know, he said. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story. Now, U.S. offers up to 5 million reward for leader of DRC Congo ADF militia. Why? The United States is offering a reward of up to 5 million for information that could lead to the leader of an Islamic State affiliated militia in Eastern DRC, the embassy said on Thursday, American in Kinshasa. The United States Department of State Rewards for Justice program offers a reward of up to $5 million for information that may lead to the identification or location of the leader of the Allied Democratic Forces, that the ADF, the embassy said in a statement. The ADF are originally mainly Muslim Ugandan rebels who have been rooting since the mid-1990s in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where they are accused of having massacred thousands of civilians. In 2021, attack on Uganda soil were also attributed to them, and a joint military operation between the Congolese and Ugandan armies was launched to hunt them down in the Congolese provinces in North Kivu and Ituri. Their leader, Musa Baluku, of Ugandan nationality, born in 1975 or 1976, according to the State Department, 2019, made a declaration of allegiance to IS, which now presents the ADF as its branch in Central Africa. Now, under the command of Baluku, this organization continues to kill, maim, rape, abduct civilians, including children, underlines the embassy of the United States. Now, she recalls that in 2021, the State Department designated Baluku as a specifically designated global terrorist and the ADF as a terrorist organization. Now, since its creation in 1984, the American RFJ program has disbursed more than $250 million for 125 people around the world, she also specified. Well, so some people listening in this morning going to turn him in for that 5 million? Whoa! That would be a good betrayal there. That's not like the one that Judas did to Jesus. Okay, no. Well, Starr Radio UK, 3 minutes past the top of the hour, the time, the morning show, the program. Exactement at 12:30, I'll be taking you to Kent, where our money man, Mr. Dan Tabiri, is. But wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and American, African and Caribbean radio station in London. Just bear with me. A good message. All right then. Okay, so now moving on straight to some other stories making the round. Parliament set to investigate National Cathedral project as Speaker admits motion. So what are they going to be investigating there? You know, interestingly, there was this story pertaining to some people saying that it should be turned to sort of a health center, a hospital, sort of. And I was asking myself, really? Somebody's building something for God and you say you want to turn it to what? All right then. Now, that is another story for another day. But let's come to this story, which it actually bothers me. Do we want to see people's life improved, or if it's at our doorsteps, we want to just see them always la la su la la, and then we see ourselves more prominent or important than them? Is that what seems to be going on there? Well, Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Members of the GA Traditional Council say they have Okay, let me take it again. Members of the GA Traditional Council say they have noted with displeasure the unauthorized construction of a hostel for head porters Kayaye in Accra and want same to be stopped. Now, according to the GA Traditional Council, the construction of the hostel at the Agbogboshi in Accra Central by unidentified people should not proceed under no circumstances. The council said in a statement signed by Kintaki Teiko Tsuru II, Gamanche, and the president of the GA Traditional Council, that any persons or group that wish to proceed with a hostel project for Kayaye should seek a new site outside the city. The GA Traditional Council, under the leadership of its president, Gamanche, and the people of the GA state, remain vehemently opposed to this project, the statement said. The government has started the construction of what it says will be 7 4-story hostel facilities to be situated, one each in 7 municipalities in the Greater Accra region, to accommodate the Kayaye, to give them decent accommodation after close of work. Now, this was a major campaign promise by the ruling government. Now, officials of the Ghana West Municipal Assembly recently cut saw to begin the construction of one of the 7 hostels. It is expected to be completed in 18 months. The beneficial assembly are the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and one each at the that is 3 for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and 1 each at Kole Krote, Ashaman, Lankwantanang, and Ayawaso Central. The Gadangbe Council similarly expressed disapproval of the construction of a hostel in the center of Accra for Kayaye, and said the funds to go into the project will be better channeled into the construction of a vocational and technical training institution to give the Kayaye employable skills. Now, you want to give them employable skills. Where are they going to live first to be able to come to this school that they want to? They want to do that. They put the cart before the horse instead of the other way around. And that's why I ask myself the question that, is it that we hate to see the impoverished or those who are downtrodden, some way, somehow being catered for, so that we see them, lift them up a bit. Definitely some way, somehow, by the message of God, some of them can get to where you are and even surpass you. But it's because of opportunities that they've not got. But is it that we are scared to give people an opportunity in life, even saying that maybe insecurity will go? What about now? What about now when people are sleeping in front of shops and such? Do they like that? Is that rather not an eyesore? There are things that we have to be talking about, proper developmental things, but not things like this. I vehemently also oppose what the Gamanche and the Ga Traditional Council are also saying. I don't know, but if you have a take about that, why not share it with us? Share it with us. Share it with us. I believe that if I am well to do, people around me should see or should seem to also reflect that as well. Okay? But now that you are doing well, that is okay. Sit in your plush cars and then live in your plush houses, and then you have these people sleeping in front of shops. And the government, for once, let me say the government is doing something good in this course, providing, after all these years, providing those amenities for these people who in town go carry all your goods and stuff. Now at night will have a place to lay their heads and recoup a bit, so that the next day they can come. Do you think that if things are working in their countries, in their states or in their regions, they would have traveled down here? No. But now that they've moved down here, why don't we do our best to cater for them? It seems to be the same thing that seems to be going on. So when the Caucasian does that to us, we complain. Or European does that to us, we complain. And look at what is happening in Tunisia. It's the same template that everyone seems to be using. But what do you think? It is All Star Radio UK. 9 minutes past the top of the hour at the time, the morning show, the program. Now, one other story, let me bring that your way. The National Security Minister has been slapped with a 50,000 Ghana cedis penalty by Right to Information Commission. Now, what brought about that? The Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, has been ordered to pay the Right to Information Commission 50,000 within 14 days. This is contained in a decision of the Commission on a case brought before it by the Fix the Country convener, Mr. Oliver Baka Vamawo. He is additionally directed to release the following piece of information to Mr. Baka Vamawo. Now, the report of the investigation committee set up by the Ministry of National Security to investigate a report of arrest of Mr. Caleb Kuda of City FM on May 11, 2021, which was referred to in the statement by the National Security of the 20th May 2021, the standard operation procedures of the National Security, which was referred to in the statement by the National Security on the 20th of May 2021. Now, the specific aspects of the standards operating procedures of the National Security, which were found to have been contravened by Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajimang, as indicated in the statement by the National Security of 20th May 2021. The specific aspects of the standard operation procedures or any other protocols of the Ministry of National Security, which requires that persons affecting arrests or effecting arrests of Ghanaian citizens in Ghana will be masked. Information indicating which ethics and professional standards guiding the operational duties of the Ministry of National Security requires that persons effecting arrests of Ghana citizens should be masked. The Commission, however, says the following should not be released: the CCTV recordings of the interrogation of Caleb Kuda pursuant to his arrest on the 14th of May 2021, and CCTV recordings of Mr. Kuba's movement in the complex of the National Security prior to his arrests on the 14th, and then is it the 14th or the 11th? The 114th day of May. The names and ranks of the 3 police officers mentioned in the statement by the National Security of the 20th of May 2021, and the names, designations and the role of individuals who effected the arrest of Mrs. Zoe Abu Baidu at the premises of the city of Well, these orders were issued after commission found that the actions of the National Security Ministry and the minister militates against the right of access to information enshrined under Article 21 subsection 1F of the 1992 Constitution. The Fix the Country convener in 2022 wrote to the ministry requesting the above specified information following widespread news regarding the alleged assault on Caleb Kuda and Zoe Abu Baidu. I bet you now when they're going to do that, they take you to some room where they don't have anything there, and they say that we didn't hit you. Meanwhile, you have marks on you. They said that he fell down from the stairs. Interesting. That's a beautiful country that they live in. Really? Wow. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, one other story, and they will bring the update from Ghana to a close as well. Now, the police have arrested up to 250 motorbike riders for jumping red lights. And I said kudos to them. Now, the police, as part of the police Action Against Rider Indiscipline program, have arrested 250 motorbike riders for jumping the red lights in Accra. The riders were arrested in an operation this week after jumping the red light at various traffic intersections in Accra. Now, all the arrested riders will be taken through road safety education and the dangers their conduct pose to themselves and other road users, after which they will be taken through the due process of the law, police said in a statement on Friday. Now, the police in April 2022 introduced Operation Tabiri, that is PAARE, a road safety intervention to check indiscipline among motorcycle users on the roads, which reportedly has become a major cause of road traffic accidents in the country. As part of the strategy, motorcycle users who were arrested in violation of road traffic regulation and other traffic offences within the period were sensitized and taken through some road traffic education and subsequently cautioned to be law abiding. But now, if they call them, why not? I think it's a good cause, and I stand with them 101%. All right, so above the target. Right, it's all Starr Radio. Okay, we're gonna have another 60 minutes to bring the first part of the program to a close. Wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. Just keep on staying with me. Aha. Okay, so other parts of the world and what's happening there. Now, dozens of girls have been treated, dozens in Iran, dozens of school girls taken to hospital after new gas poisoning. Now, dozens of girls from 26 schools in Iran are reportedly being treated for poisoning at hospital after another wave of apparent toxic gas attacks. Now, more than 1,000 students have been affected since November. They have suffered respiratory problems, nausea, dizziness, and fatigue. Now, many Iranians suspect the poisoning a deliberate attempt to force girls' schools to close, but the government has not said whether it believes they are premeditated. Nigerian Minister Ahmad Vahidi, who has been tasked by the president with finding the root cause of the poisonings on Wednesday, dismissed as false a report by Fars News Agency that 3 people had been arrested. He also accused foreign-based media and mercenary groups of taking advantage of the situation to wage psychological war on worry people. Now, some peoples and parents suggest that the schoolgirls may have been targeted for taking part in recent anti-government protests. Now, at least 26 schools in 5 cities across Iran were affected by the latest gas poisoning, local media and activists have said. The BBC Persian verified videos showing ambulances arriving at schools and students being treated in hospitals in the capital of Tehran. The northwestern city of Ardabil and the western city of Kermanshah. One from Tehranza in western Tehran, several girls reportedly from 13 urban schools were lying on beds in a hospital ward and receiving oxygen. Well, who did it? How come? Well, That will be a question on a lot of people's mouth or tongues this morning. But whatever it is Star Radio UK. Now, Ukraine has ordered families to leave Kupiansk city it recaptured last year. Now, Ukraine has told some residents to leave Kupiansk as Russia seeks to retake the city it left last year. Now, Kharkiv's military command urged families and those with limited mobility to leave due to constant shelling by Russian forces. Now, Russia took to the northeastern city and an important supply hub early in the full-scale invasion, with Ukraine recapturing it last September. Meanwhile, Wagner Group says its troops have practically encircled Bakhmut. Now, earlier this week, President Volodymyr Zelensky admitted the situation in Bakhmut, around 130 kilometers south of Kupiansk, was becoming more and more difficult. In Kupiansk, the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration said the evacuation order was due to the unstable security situation caused by Russia's shelling of the town and its surroundings. It said those evacuated will be provided with assistance, including accommodation, food, humanitarian aid, and medical support. But this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. One other story more from the world front, and then we come to the UK. In Colombia, protests has been taking place and 79 police officers have been taken hostage. A police officer has died and 79 others taken hostage in Colombia, protests in Colombia, South Caqueta province. Now, violence erupted on Thursday after residents blockaded the compound of the oil exploration company Emerald Energy. They were demanding its help to repair and build new roads in the area. A civilian was also killed and 9 oil field workers captured alongside the police officers. Now, video showed the hostages sitting in a crowded room on rows of chairs on the floor. Now, Colombian President Gustavo Petro said he hoped they will be unilaterally released before any escalation of violence and asked for medical help from the Red Cross. Now, many of the protesters were rural and indigenous people who want Emerald Energy to build new road infrastructure around San Vicente de Cagun area. The oil company did not respond when approached by Reuters News for comments. Today, we are all united than ever, they wrote, adding that Mr. Monroy had offered his life in the line of duty. Now, local government officials said the officer died from a machete attack, while the civilian was killed by gunfire. The Colombia's human rights ombudsman Carol Camargo, who was on site to mediate, said he had spoken with protesters and stopped them from firing Molotov cocktails at the oil facility. Now, protests in areas near energy and mining operations in Colombia are common as communities demand companies build infrastructure, including roads and schools. Well, do you think that maybe if Nigerians do so or Ghanaians do so? One time I did visit a place in Ghana. I keep on saying that that is Obuasi. I went to Obuasi, and interestingly, the road was so bad, so that I bet you have to be using 4x4s to be able to, because it's all, I don't know. So I was thinking, is it that they don't want people to, maybe somebody steal some gold and maybe will flee, and therefore that's why they have that proper rugged road? But well, this seems to be what the Colombians are doing. Maybe if they had done that, maybe they what do they call them now? Ashanti gold fields will see to address that concerns there. So when it comes to oil companies that are making huge profits, and these people are calling on you, why don't you meet them halfway? Why don't you tell them that, look, we're going to be looking at it? Why don't you reassure them that you are looking at it and you're going to do something about it? You start something, at least they know that you are doing something there. So what that still makes, unless of course they are paying chunks of monies to the government, and government is not seen to do its bit there. But what do you think? Whoa, Starr Radio UK, 12:22. We've got another 8 minutes to bring the first part of the program to a close. So wherever you are, just stay tuned. Well, do you remember Sue Gray? Yeah. Well, she has decided to resign and now become chief of staff for the opposition leader, Sir Keir Starmer. Now, Conservative MPs have expressed anger that Partygate investigator Sue Gray has been offered a job as Sir Keir Starmer's chief of staff. The civilian servant produced a highly critical report into lockdown parties under Boris Johnson that contributed to his downfall as Prime Minister. Allies of the former Prime Minister have argued it undermines her report and the impartiality of the civil service. So did she know or did she have plans to become chief of staff as at the time she was preparing that, doing that investigation? Or this is just an afterthought? That's the questions on the lips of most people. Now, Ms. Gray herself has yet to comment. Now, the government confirmed on Thursday that she has left her position as a senior official at the Levelling Up and Housing Department. On Friday, Labour Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves told reporters she was really excited that Sue Gray is looking to come and work for the party once all the right procedures had been completed. Now, as when contact had been made with Ms. Gray, she said Labour had been looking for a new chief of staff for the last 2 or 3 months. She added that this was well after the civil servants Partygate report was published in May last year. So, is there any bias there, as the Conservatives are calling, or impartiality? Partiality there? They're not maybe using, wearing some kind of microscopic thing to say, yeah, I can see that. Is that what she had actually done there? What do you think? Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, but do you think that she should go on to be a chief of staff, or she's just being a civil servant? I don't have any affiliation with any party. I just want to be what I am, just working for the interests of the whole of the United Kingdom. Is that it? Well. It is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Lee Anderson says he is sympathetic to asylum hotel protesters. Now, Conservative Party Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson has said he has sympathy with people protesting outside hotels providing refuge for asylum seekers. A spate of protests have been organized at hotels across the country in recent weeks, with some ending in violent clashes with police. Now, many have been led by far-right anti-immigrant groups such as Patriotic Alternative. Mr. Anderson said protesters were just normal family people with concerns about the safety of their community. Really? Okay. Now, this is how humans that is how humans behave. He says, Mr. Anderson said, when you live in a community, you expect to be safe and you don't like sudden change. Now, the Hope Not Hate campaign group accused Mr. Anderson of parroting the misinformation used by the far right to exploit hotels. Now, this is precisely the same kind of myth that the far right are peddling to whip up hate around hotels. A spokesperson said, we can't have a Conservative MP amplifying these messages. What are they going to do about that? Well, one man has been charged and 14 other people were arrested after a police officer and 2 members of the public were hurt when missiles, including late fireworks, were thrown at protesters outside a hotel accommodating asylum seekers in Kirkby on the 10th of February. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, one final story, and then we bring the program to a close there. Now, energy firms expect bill help to continue in April. Now, we're all anticipating that by April, they're going to announce that, look, government is not going to be helping anybody any longer. each one for themselves and God for us all. But some energy firms are now preparing for the government to provide further financial support for households with energy bills from April. Some news network understands. Now, typical household energy bills are set to rise to 3,000 a year from April, but calls have been made for the government to retain its current level of support, so they stay at 2,500. The government had previously said all hell for bills is under review. A Treasury source declined to comment. At the moment, the government is limiting typical household bill to 2,500 a year plus a 400 winter discount, which will also end from April. Now, from the 1st of April, the help is scheduled to be scaled back, which will push bills up. Now, fuel poverty campaigners have said the number of households struggling to afford bill could rise from 6.7 million to 8.4 million as a result of the April rise. However, industry sources are saying that some energy companies have already started amending future bills to reflect the energy help will continue at or very near to current levels beyond the 1st of April. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt to date has declined to extend the support at the current rate, but experts have suggested it is increasingly likely he will change course, probably at the budget on the 15th of March. And this is where I bring the program to a close for today. But remember, as I did say earlier, on Monday we're going to be coming your way with some lovely program where we're doing our best to see whether we can bring you the flag raising event at the Croydon Council for the Ghana's Independence Day. And how many years would that be? Is it 66 Independence Day? Okay, so I'll be telling you more about all that. But this is why I bring the program to growth. Let me bring you some lovely tune and then I go away. This is from Mika Paris, and she says a change is gonna come. Enjoy it, and I see you all later. Bye bye for now.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a
broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Thanks for listening. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on It's been a long